Guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft. Joined here with my co-host, Jake Ellenbogen. And guys, we made it. The NFL season is officially here with our Los Angeles Rams taking on the Buffalo Bills at home in LA in 2 days. Thursday night football to kick off the NFL season. It's going to be very exciting. I, for one, have been looking forward to this since we won the Super Bowl in February. Jake, it feels like we've been waiting for a very, very long time. We waited it out. It's here. Couldn't be more excited, Jake. And today we have our first game preview episode of the 2022 season. And Jake, if I'm not mistaken, is this my fourth season on Downtown Rams?
I would say, okay, so you started after the 2019
in
season.
February 2019.
Yes.
So we had the 2019 fall season, 2020 fall season, 2021 fall season, and now the 2022 fall season. My fourth season here. I can't believe it, Jake. Time flies.
I can't believe we've been doing the podcast this long. And that means if I've had you for 4 years, then I've been doing this for way too long, man.
I know.
I mean, well, we're at episode 458. Jesus. I mean,
Crazy.
Pretty nuts.
I know.
But, hey, it's been a lot of fun. We're nowhere near done. And we've had just the privilege of speaking to so many different, amazing football minds and, football players. I mean, some of the guys that we interviewed are really making it in the NFL. There are some other guys that, they made the 53-man roster like we expected. And, it's always nice to see that. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a ride. It's been a lot of fun. And, I'm very, very happy to have you on board. And I'm glad you joined on and you weren't just a guest until now, because we kept putting featured Alexis. And I was like, hey, I texted you. I'm like, hey, why are we featuring you at this point? Like, you're pretty much on the show. And you're like, yeah,
Crazy.
We should probably get rid of that. So that's what we did.
Long time ago, Jake. 3, 4, again on the fourth season. Very excited. And this is the first season, Jake, that we are kicking off as Super Bowl champions.
Yes.
Which is very, during the time of this podcast, I should say. Second Super Bowl in Rams history. Guys, now we've got a taste for it and we want more. And I'm hoping that Thursday night, Jake, is going to be the start of another Super Bowl season. So let's get into it, Jake. Let's talk about the Rams matchup versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, Jake, you and I know, I'm sure most of our listeners know, the Buffalo Bills are no joke. In fact, they are considered by many to be the AFC favorite. They're a very, very good team, very few weaknesses, and their quarterback is arguably, he's definitely a top 5 quarterback in the league, Jake. A lot of people have him top 3. Josh Allen, absolutely insane to watch, fun to watch, kind of like a magician, almost has that Mahomes-like quality about him. So we're going to be going up against a very, very good team. There's going to be no shortage of good plays by either team, I think, in this season opener, Jake. Very briefly, what do you expect from this Rams versus Bills matchup on Thursday night?
Yeah, so kind of coming into this game, I thought it was going to be really like a 3-point, really close affair. I do think the Rams are going to win this game. I expect them to come out and really push it through the air. I think not having Tre'Davious White is something that I've highlighted as really the biggest loss for the Bills. He'll be good to go at some point this season, so they'll probably have him the next time I believe they play in Super Bowl 57. But here's the thing. When you look at him being gone, you have a rookie in Kyrie Elam. I know they're very excited about him. He's a rookie playing one of the toughest positions to play as a rookie. We've seen corners struggle. We've seen corners, rise to the occasion. I mean, Jeff Okudah was drafted higher than Kyrie Elam, and he struggled immediately into the NFL. So not everybody is, NFL ready at that corner spot. It's really difficult to play. And so, I do think you have him. You have, Teron Johnson, who I like, and obviously I think the safeties will help you out. You have that quad grouping where, Poiter's good to go. You got Micah Hyde. I really like Jaquan Johnson, and I'm a big fan of DeMar Hamlin. So you got a really nice quad there of safeties, but you got Dane Jackson starting, and I'm not trying to hate on Dane Jackson. I liked him in the draft, but I just don't think he's on the level of where you're going to need to be going up against Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson, potentially Van Jefferson, that 2-2 Atwell speed that they can utilize. Hell, even Ben Skoranek, who I think is going to, surprise some Rams fans who have just already written him off. And then that doesn't even account for the running backs that all have pass catching ability. Your guy, Kyron Williams, actually our guy, Kyron Williams. You just obviously were on him a little bit earlier than me. We both love him. Then you have Cam Akers, you have Darrell Henderson, you have Tyler Higbee. There are so many weapons here. The Bills are going to have to be very careful because if they don't play their cards right, we could see more of the same as like what we saw the beginning of last year when Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense just went to town on the Chicago Bears secondary. You talk about the big deep ball. I mean, Cooper Kupp is wide open. The deep ball to start the game with Van Jefferson. You could see that. I think that's very possible if they don't play their cards right here. They got to be very careful in how they approach Matthew Stafford. But let's be honest here, they're not going to do anything. The Rams aren't if they can't protect Matthew Stafford. And I think with the offensive line, that is really, if you look at anything that could hold the Rams back, it's the fact that we don't know what this offensive line is going to be. There's a lot of us that feel they're going to have a good season, right? But no Whitworth. I'm a huge Noteboom fan, so I believe he's up to the task. But he needs to stay healthy, and that's been a big thing, where he struggled. Then you have David Edwards at left guard. He continues to get better. We both loved him in the draft. One of the, I think, best value picks that they've made. I like him moving forward there. Brian Allen, Pro Bowl guy, but again, got hurt towards the end of last year, so he's got to stay healthy. Right guard, you have Coleman Shelton, who I'm higher than the most. And then Rob Havenstein, who is a captain, rightfully so. He's the top 10 offensive tackle in football, in my opinion. And, I think he is going to have to lead this unit. I think this unit can be very good. They can even be great, but I think they all have to stay healthy. And, I mean, we saw it, the depth is a little question mark there after the preseason. So as long as these guys stay healthy, they keep Stafford upright, they can do everything I was just saying with the offense and the weapons, testing him deep down the field.
Well, you kind of already did this, but let's go through the Bills' defensive depth chart. Because I want to talk about the Bills' defense versus the Rams' offense first, and we'll cover both. But the Rams are going to be going up. This is just the preliminary depth chart as of right now for the Buffalo Bills. But actually, Jake, let me start the injury report. Let's get that out of the way, because for the Rams, it's very simple. Right now, today is Tuesday. The game is on Thursday. The Rams injury report is Van Jefferson, and he did not practice. We'll talk more about that, but Jake, my assumption, and you might feel differently about this with Van Jefferson, is he will not be playing Thursday night, because Sean McVay said a few hours ago that he's day to day and he's not quite ready yet. If I'm the Rams, I'm probably not rushing him to get back by Thursday, but because it is the home opener, some fans think, well, maybe, he'll get out there. I don't really think it's worth it. I think if the knee is not ready, don't push it. You've got a whole season ahead of you. This is game one. I don't know if you have a counter argument to that, or I assume
don't.
you agree.
You said exactly what should happen.
Right. So I am not under the impression that Van Jefferson will be playing Thursday night. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The good news for us Rams fans, he's the only guy in the injury report. Everyone else is healthy and good to go. Now the Buffalo Bills, here is their injury report. So they've got Tommy Doyle, who's an offensive lineman, did not practice. Isaiah McKenzie, who's a wide receiver. I actually like him a lot. He did practice. He was dealing with a groin injury. Quentin Morris, tight end, has a hamstring injury, did not practice. Jordan Poyer, big name Jake, safety, did practice after dealing with a little bit of an elbow issue. And then defensive tackle Tim Settle had a calf issue, and he did practice, Jake. So it looks like as of right now for the Buffalo Bills, Tommy Doyle and Quentin Morris are the only two players who could potentially not be playing on Thursday night. So with that, I'm going to go into the depth chart for the Bills, and then I'm going to ask you kind of the highlights from there, in your opinion. So guys, when you look at the Bills depth chart, and Jake, before I even look at the depth chart, this is always when I get names wrong, guys. So prepare yourself for that. I don't think there's anyone off the top of my head for the Bills that I'm going to get wrong, but
it shouldn't be that hard, but we'll see.
Okay. It shouldn't be that hard, guys, but for me, I will say names I've said a million times right and get it wrong, whatever. All right, guys, up front for the Bills defense, you've got starting at left defensive end, you've got Gregory Rousseau. That's right, Jake, right?
I'll take it. It's
Yeah, that's
Rousseau,
right.
but
Rousseau, that's what I said.
you did a little Rousseau. No, I'm messing with you.
Whatever. Okay. Defensive tackle, you've got Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones. That's right.
That's right.
Okay, your face. Okay, for a second I thought.
No. I'll tell you. I will not hesitate.
Okay, guys, and they're listed as a right defensive end. It's a little interesting why they list him as a defensive end. He's really more of an outside linebacker. Is a familiar face, guys. Von Miller, who we all know very well.
They're running a 4-3 base defense. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
that's why.
He's just listed for some reason as a right defensive end.
No,
well, that's why.
He is.
That's why.
Yeah. 4-3.
Okay, linebacking core. You've got Matt Milano and Trayman Edmonds. They've got 5 in the secondary at corner. They've got Dane Jackson, Jake, who you mentioned earlier, and who you also mentioned earlier, rookie Kier Elam. At safety, they've got Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, and then at nickelback, they've got Taron Johnson. Jake, so they're not short of big names. They've got a lot of really solid players on that defense, a lot of really underrated players, actually, on that defense, I think. Maybe not the flashiest guys, but guys who quietly have been having really good seasons for several years. So, Jake, in your opinion, who is the biggest threat on this defense, and why is it Von Miller?
It's not Von Miller.
You don't think?
No, I'm going to say something. It might be a little bit of a cold take. We'll see how this ends up. But I think Von Miller is not going to have the season people think. Because I think a lot of what Von Miller did last year was predicated on the fact that Aaron Donald was taking on triple and double teams and all of that. It allowed those one-on-ones. Well, now that Von Miller's the big name there, he's going to get double teamed. And I think the guy to watch out for is the first guy that you mentioned, Gregory Rousseau. I mean, I think this is somebody that had 17 sacks 1 year in college at Miami, and he showed you a lot last year. I thought he was great. He was a first-round pick like he should have been. A lot of draft Twitter got way too involved and tried to pick apart every little, area of his game. But bottom line is this guy is special, very special athlete, special player. And I think he's going to be a superstar. I really do. So if you're looking at anybody to blow up this game, potentially, it's not Von Miller. It is Gregory Rousseau.
Well, it's funny. Well, and I do like Rousseau, by the way. I think you and I, in the drafts, we both had him pretty high.
We were hoping he would follow the Rams, if you remember that.
Were we? I don't remember. I just remember him. I'm thinking of the top 10 rankings. I think he was like top 3 for both of us, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and pull it up, but I do like him a lot. But I said Von Miller because I was just like, duh. But then when I really thought about it, I really like Ed Oliver. I don't know in this particular game. So
I like Ed Oliver too, but also the guy next to him who they added to kind of give, like, here's the thing that you got to help out the linebackers, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw, obviously the Rams did it in reverse because they went out and they got Bobby Wagner. So he's already helped out because he's got Aaron Donald in front of him. Right. But, the Buffalo Bills, they like Tremaine Edmonds. They like Matt Milano more than I do. But going out and getting Daquan Jones, I think Daquan Jones is really going to be able to command those, he's going to take on 2 guys. He's going to try, at least. He's going to be like Michael Brockers back when they had Chris Long, Robert Quinn, Aaron Donald. Think of that. That is his role. He's very underrated, and they got him for a reason.
And Jake, when I bring up Ed Oliver, because part of the reason he also could have a big game, and now is our time to talk about it, because we're going to talk about what the Rams offense needs to do in order to stop this Bills defense. And Jake, our offensive line. That's going to be very interesting. You touched on it earlier, the way that our offensive line is playing. Now, here's what I've been trying to point out to people as well is I know that they looked really, really bad in preseason. I'm referring to our Rams offensive line, but it wasn't the starters. And I get when people are like, well, it's still bad because what if somebody gets hurt? I agree with you. If somebody gets hurt, that's not good for us. I agree. But looking at this game, right, under the assumption that our offensive line stays healthy, I'm not super concerned about them going up against, I don't think that they're going to absolutely shut down this Bills defense. I think the Bills have a good defensive front. They very well probably could get a few sacks. I'm not saying that they're not going to be semi-successful. However, I do think that our Rams offensive line is going to do a pretty good job, Jake, against this Bills defense. Now, if somebody gets hurt, that's a different story. Obviously, you and I talked about it on the podcast a lot during preseason. We have concerns about the depth. I know that we're not alone in that. Rams Twitter is just absolutely buzz about that. But guys, don't fear. I'm not expecting our offensive line to have a meltdown this game against the Bills. But Jake, looking at our offense, and I'm going to go ahead now and read our official depth chart, Jake, for the Rams. However, the Rams are kind of interesting because they just mix and match so much, right? So it's like you can read a depth chart. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are all the guys that are going to get playing time and be used a lot, but this is just what we're dealing with officially. So obviously at quarterback, Matthew Stafford. At running back, we've got Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and our guy Kyron Williams, who this is going to be the first time we see him play because he didn't play in preseason. So I'm excited about that. Wide receivers, we got Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson. Now, Van Jefferson is probably going to be out. We already covered that. Then you've got Ben Skoranek, Tutu Atwell, Brandon Powell, and Lance McCutcheon, or Mance McClutcheon, as Rams fans have deemed him after his performance during this preseason. Then at our offensive line, or at tight end, I'll go there first. Tight end, we got Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. Starting offensive line guys, at left tackle, we've got Joe Noteboom. Left guard, David Edwards. Center, Brian Allen. Right guard, Coleman Shelton. And right tackle, Rob Havenstein. So, Jake, I'll let you go first. We talked about the Bills' defense. We know that they're pretty solid. One of the more solid defenses in the league. Maybe not amazing, nothing too insane, but they're solid. And they're probably going to have some moments where they shine during this game. What does our offense need to do to be successful against this Bills defense?
Well, first off, I think you just got to really figure out what identity you're going to come at them with. And, this is a team that I expect to go very much heavy on 11 personnel. They led all of the NFL last year in 11 personnel. No shock. And I could see them even going 10 personnel grouping as well. But here's the thing, though, with the Rams. I think they are more of a pass-happy team this year. I think that's what's going to happen. But I think they have 3 good running backs. I don't know where Cam Akers is going to be following this Achilles. I know everybody points to the Arizona game. He wasn't really anything after that. We didn't really get to see much of him. The Niners game, he didn't really impress. The Tampa Bay game, he really fumbled the bag literally twice. And he blocked Andrew Whitworth, in the Super Bowl and ran 1.9 yards per carry. So I do have my reservations about, Cam Akers. But I think Darrell Henderson is somebody, if they do want to run the ball, they can go back to look at the 2020 game, where they lost 35-32 after the god-awful fourth and goal PI. I don't know if you remember that. They came all the way back from like 25 or something. But in that game, Darrell Henderson ran for over 100 yards and, really just ran all over the defense. And I feel like if they are going to go with the running backs and try to get the run game going, then that might be interesting because you can utilize that in the passing attack, like obviously combining play action. And Matthew Stafford is a great play action quarterback, so you definitely want to get that going. So it'll be interesting how they attack them. I mean, I could definitely see them just coming out, balls to the wall, throwing the ball all over the place, forcing them to, hey, you want to double Cooper, we're going to throw to, Allen. If you want to, leave Cooper not double teamed, then we'll just pick you apart with Cooper Kupp. And then on top of that, I think they have some weapons that they can be interchangeable. I think on third downs, call me crazy, but I think Ben Skoranek and that big body, at 220 something pounds is going to be utilized over the middle on third downs because, he could take the punishment, hang on to the ball. I do think he's going to be a lot better. I think it's going to be a complete turnaround for him, transformation for him this year. He'll be way more comfortable. But then you have Tutu Atwell on the flip side who can really stretch the field. We also have to wonder if Brandon Powell is going to have a significant role in this offense because he has been utilized so much so they didn't even want him playing in preseason. So he's been utilized in the offense in camp. Sean McVay has been raving about him on offense. So if they get him going as a gadget guy, with the end arounds and, quick slants and things like that, won't surprise me at all. The Rams are going to mix things up, especially if Van Jefferson is out. I think it's completely fair game what they do. And don't be surprised that they flex out wide guys like Kyron Williams, put him in the slot, or Cam Akers or Darrell Henderson. I think all three could do that. There's a lot to like here, and I think they could really attack the Bills however they want to. But, I still kind of have to believe that Sean McVay, the first 15 scripted plays, they're going to want to pass the ball, yeah, but Sean McVay also is going to understand that he does need to establish the run and open up the passing attack with play action. So I think you'll see some running, kind of a litmus test to see if you can really run against this defense. And if you establish the run early on, they're going to have to, bait or, at least bite on that play action where now all of a sudden your passing attack just transformed by showing them, hey, we can run the football too. So you have to take advantage, of that. So I think, obviously, like I said, this team could throw all over the field, but, they might go more balanced against the Bills in this game. They might go balls to the wall, but they might go more balanced. I think if you're looking for a game that they might just go crazy and just test out a bunch of stuff, it would be against the Falcons next week. But, you do want to win this game.
Yeah.
And, I do think that they're going to not play it safe, but they might go with more of a balanced approach. They also might not want to show everything early on in the season. I don't necessarily buy into that, but I know that's come up, at least in my live streams. I've seen on Twitter that Sean McVay might not want to show his entire playbook, even if he needs to against the Bills. I don't know if I entirely believe that, but it's something out there, I guess.
Yeah, I expect a balanced attack against the Bills. Like you said, I don't think this is a game where there's going to be any major risks taken. There's just a lot on the line. One, it's a very, very good football team. It's the season opener, not just for the Rams, but for all the NFL primetime game. All eyes are going to be on them. So I don't think that this is going to be a game where anybody wants to get too risky. Who knows? But that's just my opinion. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a balanced attack. I think, if anything, I'm very interested to see how the passing game goes without Tre'Davious White. I do think that there might be some holes in that secondary that Matthew Stafford can exploit. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. I could see them ramping up the passing game if they give it a few tries. It seems to work. Maybe it becomes more of a passing game. But I still think the balanced attack is the way to go. Like you said, if you're going to do anything crazy, you would do it against a team like the Falcons. You would not do it on Thursday Night Football to open the season against the Bills. Most likely. You never know with Sean McVay. But I think the smart plan of attack, Jake, is to run the balanced offense. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I think, you look at, say, the Bills now with their offensive line. I think this is an opportunity for the Rams. Greg Gaines coming off his best year. Aaron Donald can go up against anybody, and he's a problem. A'Shawn Robinson's healthy. I know he was probably healthy last year, but it's always surprising to see him out there. I don't know why. I just feel like I can't get over his first year with the Rams where they missed him for 11 games. And I just kind of assume he, hasn't really been healthy the majority he's been on the Rams. So,
Yeah.
it's good that they're starting off with those guys. And I think it's a huge opportunity for Justin Hollins, who, really is out to prove himself. I mean, I don't know if he really needs to, but I mean, some would say he does. And now that Vaughn's gone, it really kind of, adds fuel to that fire. I do believe he'll start over Terrell Lewis. Last time he went up against the Bills, he had a good game. Leonard Floyd had a good game, had a sack in that game. Aaron Donald was ferocious in that game. Was a big reason why they were able to, steal some possessions, come back. I believe he forced 2 fumbles, had 3 sacks. I mean, he was great.
Yeah.
But, I do think that front going up against that offensive line, Deion Dawkins is good. I don't think he's great, but I think he's a good offensive tackle. Roger Saffold, we'll see if he plays. I'm sure he will. But he did get into some car accident that they found out about. I don't know how long ago it was, but I know, that happened. Mitch Morse, solid center. Ryan Bates, I mean, he's all right. And then David Cassenberry at right tackle, he's all right. I don't love this offensive line. I'll be honest with you. I think Cromer's going to do the best that he can, but I think it's certainly an opportunity for the Rams to get after Josh Allen, force him out of the pocket, and make him, beat you with the incredible arm strength and all that, because the Rams can trap him. They can put those together. Josh Allen has made a lot more strides to becoming a better decision maker, but he did throw 15 picks last year. Everyone looks at Stafford 17. Josh Allen threw 15, didn't throw as many touchdowns. So, we'll see. But I do think with that Rams secondary, they could get Josh into a little bit of a mix there, because you have him running, say going against his body, running, out of the pocket constantly, trying to throw deep down the field, and didn't see Jalen Ramsey cutting across, didn't see David Long, didn't see Nick Scott. I think the Rams, they're going to play that shell coverage, and I think it will allow a lot over the middle. And I think the Rams are fine with that. They're just going to try to neutralize the deep ball to a Gabe Davis, to a Stephon Diggs,
Well,
somebody like that. So that's how I see that going.
well, let me go through their depth chart, the Bills' depth chart, just so we can point out who we're going up against. So, like you already said, quarterback Josh Allen. We talked about him a little bit to open the show. Obviously, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. At running back, Jake, they have Devin Singletary, and then James Cook. Rookie James Cook is listed as their RB2, and then Zach Moss. You and I know, like James Cook a lot. You look at their receiving core, you've got Stephon Diggs. Almost everybody knows who he is. Top 10 receiver in the league. Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie. And then you've got rookie Khalil Shakir as wide receiver 4. Tight end Dawson Knox, who's a pretty good tight end in the league.
Jamison Crowder Sweeney also will be in that mix. They'll use him a lot. So
Jamison Crowder, then tight end, like I said, Dawson Knox, Tommy Sweeney. Then that offensive line, Jake, that you pointed out, left tackle Deion Dawkins, left guard Roger Saffold, who us Rams fans are super familiar with. Center Mitch Morse, right guard Ryan Bates, and then David, you said it's Kessenberry?
I don't know if it's Quessenberry or Kessenberry.
Because I heard somebody say Quisenberry. Now, hear me out. I knew Quisenberries in high school, people that I knew, and then somebody said that. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. So that's what I've been saying, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Say that.
I don't know what it is. So you say, I can't. Here's the thing: if I don't know
interesting?
Yeah, I can't correct you on it, because I don't even know if it's right.
Their backup right tackle is Spencer Brown, and that's actually kind of. I really liked him in the drafts. He was a 3rd round draft pick last year.
He's the only guy I like outside of Saffold I could see him.
It's not really relevant to this game because I don't think I'll start this game, but I could see him taking over at that right tackle spot.
I could see it too.
So that's the Bills offense. Let's go through our defense, shall we? For the first time this season, guys. So the Rams defense up front, we have A'Shawn Robinson, Greg Gaines, and Aaron Donald. Solid front there. Linebacking core, at outside linebacker, you've got Leonard Floyd and Justin Hollins, who Jake touched on earlier. It is Justin Hollins listed as a starter, but Terrell Lewis is gonna, I think, battle there a lot as well. And then, sorry, I accidentally just clicked out of this. At corner guy, inside linebacker, we have Bobby Wagner, new face,
by the
future
way,
Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Les Snead confirmed that Keir Thomas will be part of the 48, so he will suit up on game day, and he will have a role. So we'll see, because he played his ass off in preseason.
He did, yeah. He's listed, so he's another outside linebacker. At inside linebacker, we've got Ernest Jones and Bobby Wagner. Corner guys, obviously Jalen Ramsey, and David Long is listed as the other starting corner. You've got Troy Hill and Nickelback, and then at safety, you've got Jordan Fuller and Nick Scott. However, Taylor Rapp and Terrell Burgess, I think, are going to rotate in there. I think at corner, obviously, we're going to have rookies Darion Kendrick and Kobe Durant rotate in there at points. Now, I think this is an interesting game, Jake, because like I mentioned, this is the Bills. It is opening night. If things are a little dicey and a little intense, we might not see as much of the rookies as we'd like to. And I've been saying, you never know. Usually when it's a really tight game, you're going to have the veterans out there. You're going to have guys who what they can do. It's like we said, it's not the time to really take any chances. So I won't be surprised if Darion Kendrick and Kobe Durant don't get a lot of playing time. I think we'll see them. I don't think we're going to see them a lot, just because, like we've talked about, the stakes of this game. Now, again, maybe we go out there and we blow the Bills out in the first half. All right, maybe that happens, and then we'll see them. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would love if it did. So that is what we're working with defensively, Jake. Looking at our defense and the Bills' offense, What do you think is the number one thing that our defense needs to do to slow down really Josh Allen, who's the heart of that offense?
Yeah, so I think it's really important for them to obviously put pressure on Josh Allen because it minimizes how long you have to cover, obviously with that pressure. And I mean, that'll make anybody look good, right? That'll essentially make any secondary look good when your pressure is getting the quarterback that can't even throw the ball. But even more so, you pressure Josh Allen, even if he still gets rid of it. This is somebody, he's going up against the team that just won the Super Bowl. I know people are going to say that's not that big of a deal. He's an NFL player. They're not thinking about that. But this game means a lot for the Bills. They're getting a lot of praise early on. They're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're more favored than the Rams. It's not any shock against the Rams because, basically Raheem Morris said, who hasn't counted us out, right? I mean, the Rams seem to always be counted out. They're probably the most underrated Super Bowl team that I've seen. I mean, I haven't seen a team come back from Super Bowl win and really be thought of as the fourth team or fifth team to win the Super Bowl when really they didn't lose that much. And probably only got better. I think this is a better roster. But with Josh Allen, this is a team now. Maybe they feel like they have something to prove. And yeah, you might go for that deep ball for a Gabe Davis or, a Stephon Diggs or somebody like that. But I think the Rams having the athleticism they have in the back end, secondary, having the guys they have, the playmakers. I mean, we've seen David Long come down with some interceptions. We've seen Nick Scott. We've seen Jordan Fuller had 2 against Tom Brady. We've seen, Jalen Ramsey be a pest. We've seen Troy Hill, have pick sixes. So there's a lot of athleticism in that secondary that I think could pose a problem for Josh Allen, but you got to keep him on the run. Don't let him get comfortable in the pocket, but also don't let him get comfortable if he does go on the run. Don't let him get past that line of scrimmage and start killing you with his legs because he can do that.
Yeah, I mean, my game plan number one on the list, if it were me going up against this Bills team, is you mentioned earlier they have not the strongest offensive line. I think that's their weakness of this offense. I think the Rams can really capitalize on that and just absolutely wear the Bills offensive line down. Now, again, pressuring a quarterback like Josh Allen, he is good at getting out of situations like that, right? He's got that Mahomes like quality. He's, good when he scrambles. But after a while, if you keep wearing down that offensive line, if you get to him quick, there's going to be only so much he can do. So I think that that's probably the key for the Rams, in my opinion, is to just really break down that Bills offensive line because I don't think they're going to be able to stand against the Rams defense, not for the whole game at least. So I think we're on the same page there. It'll be very interesting. Hopefully, we see a lot of Rams sacks this Bills game. I will not be surprised. But Jake, let's get into our predictions. We always do this every year to close out the episode. We give some fun stat predictions that we think will happen, and we predict the score of the game. So Jake, should I go first?
Go right ahead.
So, all right, guys. Like I just alluded to, I think there might be a lot of Rams sacks this game. I don't only think, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Guys, I think Aaron Donald is going to have 2 sacks on the opener. I know he's Aaron Donald. I know he's going to get double teamed. I know that the Bills are going to do everything in their power to prevent it, but I think he gets it done like he always does. I think Aaron Donald's going to get a couple sacks. I think Leonard Floyd's going to get a sack. And Jake, I might be really pushing it here, but I want Bobby Wagner to get a sack. I'm not as confident as the Aaron Donald sacks, but I'd love to see Bobby Wagner get a sack in his first game of the Rams. Why not? I know he's an inside linebacker. He's not a edge rusher, but it could still happen. It has happened. So I'm going to say, screw it. Why not? Bobby Wagner gets a sack. Offensively, I think Cooper Kupp is going to get a touchdown. So much so that I bet on it, Jake, on PrizePicks.
You beat me to it. I was gonna.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you killed it. You killed it with the PrizePicks. No, I like the plug.
Right now on PrizePicks, guys, there you can bet the over or under on Cooper Kupp half a touchdown. So I bet the over on the half touchdown, Jake. I think that Cooper Kupp's going to have a touchdown. I also think Allen Robinson's going to have a touchdown in his first game as a Ram. So maybe my predictions for this game are a little bit boring. As Jake's showing the screen, you can't read it.
I'm not going to zoom in on that. That'll take all day.
Yeah, but maybe a little bit of boring predictions. However, that's what I'm predicting. Like we talked about, I think this is going to be a very close game. I'll talk more about it when we predict the scores, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. I'll take it. I don't care how we win. It can be an ugly win. I don't care. I just want the win. I think it's going to be solid game for us. Jake, what are your predictions for the
Well,
game?
Alexis, I sure hope you put over a half a sack on Aaron Donald, because that's his on PrizePicks. That's pretty damn
There
good.
you go.
But
It is.
I'm actually just going to give you a couple of the prize picks that I made, because
Tongue twister.
yeah, it's not right. It really isn't. All right, so this is what we're doing. All right. As far as the game, because if you sign up today, you give promo code DT Rams, and you can find the link all over. You can use Tom Brady, use a free square, 0.5 passing yards. So as long as he doesn't get hurt on the first snap of the game, you're pretty good on that one. But I have Matthew Stafford going over 265.5 passing yards on PrizePicks. That might have changed since, but that's what I locked in at versus the Bills. I think Stafford's going to be throwing the ball a lot. I still think they're going to go with more of a balanced attack in this one. Maybe lean more towards the passing, but I think you'll see enough running the ball to kind of have people start to wonder if this is going to be more of a balanced offense, which I don't believe it will be. I think it's going to be more of a pass-happy offense. But I am going over 265.5 yards. I also have Allen Robinson going over 57.5 receiving yards, and I'll take this one further. I am going for 2 touchdowns. He's going to have a $150. How do you like that? On top of that,
there you go.
Darrell Henderson, I have going for 27.5 rushing yards. Guys, they're just giving this away at this point. Darrell Henderson could have that on one run. He had over 100 yards against the Bills. I'm not going to predict Darrell Henderson going over 100 yards because there's just so much going on there. But I'll say that the Rams running back room as a whole, Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, and Kyron Williams will go for 100 rushing yards, 100 plus rushing yards, and they'll go for over 50 plus receiving yards. I know that's pretty down, to exactly what it is. Like that's like right on the nose. Like, why would you think that? But that's kind of how I see it. I think they're going to use all of them. And don't be surprised if they use Henderson and, Kyron more than you think. I mean, I see a lot of people picking Akers in the 3rd and 4th round of their fantasy leagues. And I'm like, Henderson in the 11th round and Kyron Williams going undrafted are the guys that you might want to pay attention to. But in addition to that, that means that I got to give another stat prediction, because I gave you the offensive one. So I got to give you a defensive one. And I think that this dude's been hearing it all year. Oh, why didn't we draft an edge defender? Oh, are we going to trade for Robert Quinn? Are we going to trade for insert literally any pass rusher here, whether it's Montez Sweat or Brian Burns or guys that literally aren't going to get traded? And he's just sitting there and he's like, hey, shut up. Let me go do my job. You haven't heard anything from him. You had people that were upset with him and Kendall Blanton, because I believe it was both of them. They were standing in front of some game that was happening at the Pro-Am, something like that, Drew League or whatever. So they got big flack for that. But Justin Hollins, man, you're not ready. I'm saying right now, I can tell the way, Rams fans are like, they need to trade for this guy and this guy and this guy. You guys aren't ready for Justin Hollins. As long as this guy stays healthy, he's going to have a good year. So I have him going for 2 sacks in this game. I think this is his opportunity to really show and put himself on the map. And also, the Rams really ignored that position in the draft. They got our guy, Daniel Hardy, late, but they didn't really go after an edge defender until later on. And so I think that was by design. They really like what's there. They want to go after more developmental guys. Really sucks that Hardy's going to start on the IR. Really wanted to see him play, obviously. But I think Justin Hollins goes for 2 sacks. And I'm going to say that Josh Allen throws a pick, and he's going to throw this pick to Jalen Ramsey. That's what I have.
Would love to see it. That would be, what a way to kick off the season with a Jalen Ramsey interception.
Yeah. Imagine he gets 11 interceptions, so he ties Diggs last year, but doesn't give up 1,000 yards like Diggs did. Yeah, then we'll be really talking about something there.
Well, let's get into the score prediction, Jake. Now, I gave really boring stat predictions. And I'm going to give a boring score prediction. Because like I said, I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a really close game. I don't think it's going to be super flashy. I think these are 2 very good teams. I think they're going to battle it out. I don't think anything crazy is going to... I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I would love for this to just be an absolutely insane season opener. Really, really crazy. A lot of major flashy plays all over the place. I don't think it's going to happen, but I hope I'm wrong. My score prediction is that the Rams are going to win 28-21.
I mean, that's
Very
4
boring.
touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. That's not
Yeah,
bad. That's 7
I think there's going
touchdowns.
to be, well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think it's going to
That's not
come down to the
boring.
fourth quarter, Jake.
Yeah, but that's not boring.
Well, I'm glad you don't think it's boring because
No.
I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be very back and forth. I think each team is probably going to have a lead at some point. I think at the end of the game, the Rams are going to score a late touchdown and take the lead, and they're going to keep it and they're going to win. So that's my prediction. I'm predicting a Rams win by a touchdown at the end of the fourth quarter. Jake, what's your prediction?
All right. So we're going to start the game off with a Tutu Atwell bomb, and it's going to go for a touchdown. And I think the Rams are going to end up winning this game. It's going to set the tone early on. Rams are going to get a few stops where, maybe some people wouldn't be expecting it. 34-24 is the Rams, the final score here. I think initially I had, 34-31. I felt like this would be like a 3-point game. But I decided to go with a 2-possession game because I feel like, at the end of the day, the Rams are the better team on paper. I really think that. You and I just went through both rosters, and I think you and I, obviously there's some bias. We're the Downtown Rams podcast, not just going to pretend that doesn't exist. But, it's like, why should we be penalized for being biased when, sorry, we cover this, the defending Super Bowl champions? Sorry,
Exactly.
we cover a team with Matthew Stafford who, just had a great season and just got the perfect receiver who he's been waiting for really since Calvin Johnson, as far as a guy that, you're going to throw deep down the field and you're going to have a guy that goes and high points the football and, eliminates the interceptions or the chance of an interception. That's the thing. He's now in year 2 of this offense. You have this defense that, I love the pure joy, the excitement, and just the confidence that oozes out of Raheem Morris to me. I think that's just going to be the defense all the way through. Jay Glazer, who I believe works for Fox, said, he was at the Rams camp, and he said he's seen teams before after they win the Super Bowl. They kind of take the pedal off the metal, and they're like, yeah, we're good. We did it. Awesome. They kind of pat themselves on the back. And he said, you can't even tell this team won the Super Bowl last year. They are hard at work, nose to the grindstone. And really, that's what I expect from Sean McVay. It's why I think that this is the next dynasty. And it's why I think that the Rams are going to kick it off this year, winning this game, when they unveil the 2 banners. By the way, love that they're dropping the Greatest Show on Turf banner. That very much needed to happen. So I'm very excited about that. So 2 banners at SoFi that are going to hang. The Chargers are going to have to stare at them every single time they play in that stadium, which is literally a huge W. They can't clipper their way out of this one. But yeah, I think it's going to be 34-24. At the end of the day, I think Josh Allen's great. But the reason I keep really giving the Bills a lot of credit is while they have some great talent, I really just keep going back to Josh Allen as the, kind of the factor that can really bring them to the Super Bowl. And while I do believe this is a Super Bowl matchup, I just think the Rams are the better team. And, I think with Josh Allen, I think that they have what it takes to neutralize him. And they've already seen him. And I think that helps. While he's a better quarterback than he was in 2020, keep in mind, Sean McVay isn't going in blind. He's seen Josh Allen up close and personal. And so is Aaron Donald. And while that's not the same exact team that is today, the 2020 roster, is still somewhat intact. So I don't know. I feel pretty good about this. Normally I was expecting this game to kind of feel like it could go either way. I'd give the Rams the win in the prediction, but I could see it going either way. I feel pretty good about this game. I think the Rams are going to come out. They're 5-0 in, the openers. Sean McVay hasn't lost an opener, so I'm going to stick by that record and hope that he goes to 6-0. I believe he's going to go to 6-0, and then you move on to a way easier game the next week against the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, I think, one of the better teams that we play this season. Like you said, a lot of people have the Bills as the AFC favorite to go to the Super Bowl. I tend to agree. So I'm very excited to see this matchup. I think the Rams are going to win as well. But like I said, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm very excited I know even though I don't always sound excited, I am excited. I'm dealing with a really bad sinus headache right now. So I'm low energy, but believe me, I'm excited for this game, guys. We're 2 days away. I keep feeling like it's tomorrow. I think it's because we record these podcasts a lot, like before. Like I'm like in my mind this whole episode. I was like, oh my god, it's tomorrow. You. It's Thursday.
I said
yesterday.
But it's okay I said yesterday that tomorrow was Wednesday when tomorrow was Tuesday, and I had everybody like, wait, we're 1 day away from the Rams game, and I was like, oh crap, no, I didn't mean that. Like,
no,
yeah,
it's all right. This episode comes out tomorrow. That's exciting. Yeah. You'll all be listening to this on Wednesday. So when you're listening to this, then you're 1 day away.
It's true.
So that's a way to look at it. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. Our first game preview of the season. We will be recording a game recap, probably on this weekend, after the game. So be on the lookout for that as well. We'll be back then. But guys, until then, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.
If you haven't joined PrizePicks yet, you need to do it this season. PrizePicks allows you to pick up to 5 player props, and it gives you the option to 10x your winnings. Look at this right now. Tom Brady right now, for a limited time only, is a free square, because unless he gets hurt, he is going to be getting that 0.5. I'm going to select Tom Brady. I'm going to select Josh Allen going 275.5, Matthew Stafford going 265.5. We'll just throw Lamar Jackson in here, and let's just throw Justin Fields gets more than 191.5. So what you do here, you put more, or less if you believe, Lamar Jackson gets less than that. And there you go, 10x your winnings if this pays out. You will actually get paid out even if you only hit 3 of them. You'll get 0.4 times your money back. You'll get 2 times. You'll double your money if you get at least 4 out of 5. Deposit today by using our promo code DTRAMS, and you'll get up to a $100 bonus match.